Hi, I'm Sam with BatchStovez, and today I'd like to do a video on aluminum bottle stoves, particularly the two aluminum bottle stoves that I sell, the BS 1.0 and the BS 2.0. I get a lot of emails from individuals who are either new to alcohol stoves or they're switching over from maybe some heavier type cooking gear, maybe some butane or propane type stoves. And so they have, several questions that they want to get answered before they make the decision to switch and purchase something. The BS 1.0, as its name implies, holds 1 ounce of fuel. And this 1 ounce of fuel will boil 2 cups of water in the 5 to 6 minute range, and the stove will burn out in an 8 to 10 minute range. Likewise, the BS 2.0 has a 2 ounce fuel capacity, and it will boil 2 cups of water with 1 ounce in about the 5 to 6 minute range, and also burn out in 8 to 10 minutes. Now, they're basically both the same two-piece design, whereas I take the top of the bottle, which is cone-shaped, and trim it and invert it into the stove and then roll the edge. Now, I prefer this design over a one-piece design simply because I think the cone shape helps force the gas towards the jets. I believe it gives a better burn. It's a little bit more difficult to produce a stove like this than it is just a one-piece design, but I like it, and it does a real good job. Now, the BS 2.0 is 2 1/4 inch diameter and about 2 inches tall, whereas the BS 1.0 is 2 inches in diameter and 1 3/4 inches tall. And as you can see, there is a size difference in the two stoves, but basically they both have pretty similar performance, and it's just a matter of which stove do you want. It's just really a matter of what type of food you're going to be doing, what conditions you're going to be out in. If you've got really cold water and you feel like you need the extra fuel capacity, then go with the BS 2.0. If you're just going to be, boiling water for dehydrated meals, either stove will work. And they both weigh less than 1 ounce. The BS 1.0 is a little bit lighter than the BS 2.0. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how to fill and light the stove. It's very simple. They're very good stoves for people who are new to alcohol stoves. They're not very finicky. They're very easy to operate. You simply just pour the alcohol in the center and then light it, and within 60 seconds the stove will bloom. You can place your pot on the stove, and in about 5 to 6 minutes you'll have 2 cups of water boiling. And the stove works for a 10 cm cook pot. This is my particular cook pot that I produce. This is a 10 centimeter cook pot. Works with the Musa mugs. It works with your Foster's beer cans. It works with my 22 ounce beer can replacement cooktop pot. As you can see, it's a smaller diameter. It works well with billy pots. This is a 5-inch diameter pot. It works well with those. So you can use a wide variety of different cook pots with these alcohol stoves. You don't need a pot stand. You can simply put your pot directly on top of the stove. And they work very well. Now, one of the questions I get frequently is there any maintenance that you need to do on the stove? No. I I've never had any problems with the jets clogging up. I do burn heat gasoline antifreeze, which is 99% methanol. Now, you can use heat. You can also get methanol from some of your go-kart racing shops and buy it in a gallon size. It's actually quite a bit cheaper. But you can pick up heat in the spring. Usually you can get this on sale fairly cheap at your big box discount stores. You can use denatured alcohol. This is Crown brand, but you can use Clean Strip, sells an SLX brand. Those work very well. And if you go to my website, www.BatchStovez.com, there is a tab on the left hand side that says fuel information, and it talks about all the different types of fuels that are available for use with the aluminum bottle stoves. It's good information. I suggest you stop by and read up on that. Another question I get is, will they ever wear out? How long will they last? Well, I can't really answer that question honestly because I've never had a problem with one wearing out. There's no noticeable difference between one burn or 100 burns when using denatured alcohol. I have noticed some discoloration if you use rubbing alcohol, which I don't recommend, or some of your wood alcohols, which they sell in this big box discount home stores. They sell as like green alcohol. It's just a different method in which they denature it. They tend to put a lot of soot and carbon on the bottom of your pots, and they'll also darken your stove. But for the most part, if you use clean fuel, methanol, heat, or the cleaner denatured alcohols that have a 50% methanol mix with them, they burn really clean. The jets don't seem to clog, and they should last for a lifetime. In fact, if your stove ever wears out, just notify me and send it back. I'll send you another one. I have no problem doing that. Another question I get is, how do you put the stove out? Well, I use my aluminum bottle stoves mainly for boiling water for dehydrated foods and meals or hot beverages. So basically I'm just boiling water. I usually boil 2 cups of water, and that provides me enough for my meal and a beverage. So I usually just fill the stove with 1 ounce of alcohol, go ahead and light it, put the pot on once it blooms, and in 5 to 6 minutes I've got my water boiling. And because I'm busy doing things around camp, normally I'm not sitting right by the stove. So I tend to just let it burn until it goes out, which is around the 8-minute mark, 8 to 10 minutes. So that's one way of putting the stove out. Another way is you can just invert a metal container over the top of the stove and snuff it out. That'll also extinguish the stove. But I don't carry anything to snuff the stove out. Some people carry little metal cans that are cut in half, but I don't carry anything. I just let the fuel burn out. I normally carry plenty of fuel that I'm going to need for my meals. If I'm going to be on the trail for 3 or 4 days, then I'll carry 10 to 12 ounces of fuel. I like to carry plus 10%. At any rate, I feel comfortable with that. You never know what's going to happen, and you may end up having to boil water to drink. I use a filter system, but you never know. So it's always nice to carry extra fuel. And so really the aluminum bottle stove is one of the easiest, simplest stoves you'll use. It's great for beginners because they're not very finicky. You simply just put the alcohol in the center, light it, and wait for it to bloom, stick your pot on, and you're good to go. So I'm going to do a little short clip and show you exactly how to operate the aluminum bottle stoves. So now, for those of you who are new to the alcohol stoves, this is your basic two-piece type alcohol stove, aluminum bottle stove. It's very simple to operate, very simple to light. We have 1 ounce of heat gasoline antifreeze, which is one of the preferred fuels. And we're just going to pour that 1 ounce into the center. And once the fuel's in the stove, well, you might ask, well, if I don't have anything to measure the fuel, how much fuel, how do I know how much is an ounce? Well, an ounce will level out to be about a ½ inch of fuel in the stove. So that's a good way to measure your fuel, just around about a ½ inch. Now there's a couple ways you can light it. You can simply take a twig, dip it in the alcohol, light the twig, and stick it in the stove like that. Or you can just simply hold the lighter over the stove and light it. Now, the stove will take about 60 seconds to bloom. We do have stoves that have the fiberglass wick around it, and those stoves will bloom a little bit quicker. They're mainly used for real cold weather because alcohol tends to take a little bit longer to bloom in cold weather. We're going to be using 2 ounces of tap water at 69 degrees. The indoor temp here and although this is a 16-ounce cook pot, it really holds a little over 17 ounces, but there's a good, you can't really see in the video, but there's about 3/8 of an inch from the rim. Let's see if I can get a view of that, but you can see there's about 3/8 of an inch from the rim there. Now the stove's starting to bloom. Now, if you grab the stove at the top like this and just kind of hover it over, you can set the stove down on there without getting burned. Of course, it's always good to let the stove burn out before you remove the pot. So I'm Sam at Batch Stoves. Thanks for watching the video. Stop by the website at www.BatchStovez.com. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and have a great day. Bye.